Listen, son. You've spent too many years following your feelings. And where has it taken you? Nowhere. You've confused emotion for direction, comfort for peace, and hesitation for thoughtfulness. That's why you're still stuck in the same cycle, inspired one week, broken the next. You rise with motivation and fall with emotion. Your feelings are liars. They are the most convincing enemy you'll ever face because they speak with your own voice. They don't yell, they whisper. They disguise themselves as reason, as intuition, as taking care of yourself. But what they really are is weakness wearing a mask. Your feelings tell you to rest when you should move. They tell you to wait when you should strike. They tell you to play safe when the mission requires risk. And every time you listen, you reinforce the lie that your emotions know what's best for you. They don't. Your emotions exist to keep you comfortable, not capable. They care about survival, not supremacy. They protect your ego, not your evolution. The man who follows his feelings will always obey his fears. You think you're listening to your heart. You're not. You're just avoiding the discomfort that comes with growth. You're addicted to ease, addicted to waiting until it feels right. You call it self-awareness, but it's self-sabotage. You've mistaken stillness for strength when it's really stagnation. Let me tell you something the world won't. You don't need to feel ready, you need to move. You don't need confidence, you need consistency. You don't need inspiration, you need obedience. Look around. The men who win, the men you respect, the men you wish you were, they don't move because they feel like it. They move because they said they would. Their word is their order. Their plan is their law. And law doesn't bend to emotion. But you let your emotions rewrite your plan every time life gets uncomfortable. You call it adjusting. I call it quitting politely. Every time you say, I don't feel like it, you hand over power. Every skipped rep, every delayed project, every I'll start tomorrow, that's emotion winning the war. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop negotiating with your weakness. You think your heart is pure? Your heart is lazy. It wants peace, not purpose. It wants comfort, not conquest. And if you let it lead, it will drag you straight into mediocrity, smiling while it does. Men used to wake up with enemies to fight. You wake up with excuses to manage. And the enemy isn't outside anymore, it's inside. You don't need someone to save you, you need someone to command you. The truth is simple. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. The mission doesn't ask about your mood. The world doesn't reward you for being emotional, it rewards you for execution. Every time you obey your emotions, you prove you're still a child. A boy follows what he feels. A man follows what he's decided. Discipline is manhood in motion. You say you're tired. You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You say you're unmotivated. No, you're too addicted to instant pleasure to push through discomfort. You say you need a break. You've been on one your whole life. You want power, then kill the part of you that asks permission. Kill the part of you that waits to feel ready. Kill the part of you that needs validation before action. That voice in your head that says, rest, that's the enemy. The one that says, start tomorrow, that's resistance. And resistance is undefeated against weak men. You win when you stop arguing with the mission. You win when you wake up and move before your brain starts lying to you again. You win when the plan becomes sacred, untouchable. You think freedom is doing whatever you want. It's not. That's slavery to impulse. Freedom is doing what you said you'd do, no matter how you feel. Freedom is obedience to purpose. The man who kills his feelings becomes unstoppable, because when pain hits him, he doesn't flinch. When failure mocks him, he doesn't fold. When comfort tempts him, he doesn't listen. He's deaf to emotion and loyal only to execution. That's why discipline is the highest form of respect, not for others, but for yourself. It's proof that you're stronger than the noise in your own head. You've been chasing comfort like it's safety, but comfort is a trap. It dulls your edge, blinds your hunger, and buries your purpose. The man who lives in comfort dies in insignificance. You weren't built to feel good. You were built to do good work. You weren't made for peace. You were made for war. Every day is a battlefield, not against others, but against the softness that lives inside you. So from now on, when your feelings start to whisper, don't answer them, don't reason, don't negotiate, execute. You're not supposed to enjoy discipline. You're supposed to respect it. It's not meant to feel good. It's meant to build someone good. The plan is your law. The mission is your code. Follow it with the same obedience a soldier gives to command, because success doesn't care about your emotion, only your execution. Kill the feelings, son. Stick to the plan. That's how you earn the right to call yourself a man who's built different.
Listen carefully, son. This is where most men lose the war, not on the battlefield, but in their own heads. They don't fall because they're weak. They fall because comfort has learned how to disguise itself as logic. It wears a suit. It sounds reasonable. It makes excuses look intelligent and surrender sound wise. You tell yourself you're being smart, cautious, strategic, but what you're really being is scared. You've dressed up your fear in words that sound mature, responsible, even rational. You call it planning. You call it timing. You call it patience. But it's cowardice hiding behind reason. You've mastered the art of self-deception. You convince yourself you're waiting for the right moment. But there is no right moment. There never will be. The only moment that matters is the one where you stop thinking and start doing. You say things like, "I'll start when I'm ready." But readiness is an illusion. No man is ever ready. The strong ones move before they feel ready, and that's why they become unstoppable. The weak ones wait for a perfect moment that never comes, and then they call it fate. Your mind is clever, too clever. It knows how to protect you from pain. When the plan gets hard, it doesn't scream. It whispers. It tells you to take a break. It tells you to slow down. It tells you to be realistic. But realism is just fear with good vocabulary. Comfort is patient. It knows you won't quit directly, so it lets you keep busy with things that don't matter. It lets you reorganize your desk, rewrite your goals, research more, overthink longer, all in the name of progress. But you're not moving forward, you're pacing in place. You mistake activity for advancement. You're moving, but you're not attacking. You're thinking, but you're not deciding. You're planning, but you're not building. That's comfort's favorite trick, to make you believe that delay equals discipline. The truth is brutal, son. Comfort is not the opposite of pain. It's the partner of failure. It holds your hand while your dreams rot. It makes you smile while your fire dies. It convinces you that you're safe, when really, you're stuck. Men today are slaves to the illusion of logic. They want to feel smart, not successful. They want to be seen as thoughtful, not dangerous.
So they analyze every decision until the opportunity disappears. They call it wisdom. It's just hesitation with better branding. You've been taught that logic protects you, but when emotion controls that logic, it becomes manipulation. Emotion-driven logic is the most dangerous poison a man can drink, because it doesn't taste like weakness, it tastes like safety. You'll tell yourself it's not the right time. You'll say, I'll do it when things settle down. You'll say, I just need to clear my head first. But behind every one of those phrases is fear. Behind every delay is discomfort you refused to face. You think you're avoiding risk. You're avoiding responsibility. Your emotions have infiltrated your reasoning. They've taken control of your logic and twisted it into a weapon against your own progress. They tell you you're being careful, but what you're being is controlled. Comfort convinces you that slow means smart, that soft means sustainable, that patience means purpose. But look closely. It's not patience, it's paralysis. You've confused movement with mastery, safety with stability, comfort with control. You're not thinking, you're negotiating with your own fear. You've become a lawyer for your limitations, defending every excuse as if it's truth. That's how comfort wins, not by breaking you, but by convincing you that you don't need to fight anymore. It doesn't need to change you, it just needs to make you satisfied. It tells you you've done enough today. It tells you you deserve a break. It tells you you'll get back on track tomorrow. And like a fool, you believe it. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Then one day you wake up and your life looks exactly the same. You'll call it bad luck, bad timing, bad people. But the truth is simpler. You trusted comfort more than commitment. You've been programmed to think comfort is reward. But for men like you, comfort is punishment. Every time you choose it, a part of you dies. The part that hungers for respect, that craves challenge, that remembers what greatness feels like. Comfort doesn't kill you fast. It drains you slowly. It softens your edges. It dulls your hunger. It replaces urgency with numbness. And by the time you realize it, you've already surrendered the fight. You start to justify everything. You tell yourself rest is important. You say you're listening to your body. You call laziness recovery. You call delay strategy. You call avoidance wisdom. You've mastered the language of surrender. But here's the truth, and it will hurt. You don't need more logic. You need more courage. You don't need a better plan. You need more obedience to the one you already made. You don't need better timing. You need to stop hiding behind timing. You don't need to feel ready, son. You need to be relentless. Discipline isn't emotionless. It's emotion ignored. It's the ability to hear your fear and move anyway. To feel your hesitation and execute regardless. You'll never be the man you were meant to be if you keep reasoning your way out of discomfort. The plan doesn't care about your feelings. The mission doesn't wait for your courage. You've spent your whole life thinking too much, waiting too long, feeling too deeply. And all that's ever done is delay the man you could have been. Stop thinking. Start obeying. When your emotions start to sound intelligent, that's when they're most dangerous. Comfort is the enemy of creation. Emotion-driven logic is the death of progress. So when your mind starts reasoning its way into safety, remind yourself, safety is where strong men go to die. Kill the emotion, silence the logic it controls, and do what the plan demands. That's how you escape the trap and become built different. Listen, you keep looking for an enemy outside yourself, something to blame for why you're not where you should be. You point at the world, at people, at circumstances. You talk about luck, timing, opportunity. But the truth is, none of that matters. The war isn't out there, it's in you. The battlefield is your own mind. And every day you wake up and face the same opponent, the version of you that refuses to evolve. You are your own resistance. You are your own sabotage. Every excuse you've ever spoken, every delay you've ever justified, every failure you've ever accepted, it all came from one place: you. You've built a comfortable enemy inside your own head. You've armed him with your insecurities, fed him with your fears, trained him with your habits, and now he knows every move you'll make before you make it. He knows what words will make you quit. He knows when to whisper, "You've done enough." He knows exactly how to keep you small. You keep saying, "I can't," but what you mean is, "I won't." You keep pretending there's something stopping you. There isn't. There's only you, hiding behind your own weakness. You've turned your comfort into a cage. You're the one locking the door. You're the one throwing away the key. And every time you hit snooze, every time you skip the hard thing, every time you choose distraction over discipline, you tighten the chains around your own potential. You are not tired, you're undisciplined. You are not confused, you're avoiding clarity. You are not lost, you're running from direction because direction demands obedience. That voice in your head, the one that tells you to rest, to wait, to take it easy, that voice isn't your friend, it's the enemy. It wants your comfort more than your success. It wants your pleasure more than your pride. And the worst part? You listen to it.
Every time you justify your weakness, you feed it. Every time you blame something else, you strengthen it. Every time you tell yourself it's not your fault, you surrender another inch of control. You've been fighting to protect your comfort when you should be fighting to destroy it. Look at your life. Every unfinished plan, every wasted year, every promise you broke to yourself, they all have the same fingerprints. Yours. You are the architect of your own limitations. You are the sculptor of your own failure. You say you want freedom, but freedom requires war, and you refuse to go to war with yourself. You want peace without battle, growth without pain, greatness without sacrifice. That's not freedom, that's fantasy. No man becomes great without killing the part of him that wants to stay small, and that's the part you keep protecting. You feed it every time you give in to laziness. You comfort it every time you doubt yourself. You nurture it every time you choose pleasure over progress. You can't serve two masters. You can't build and avoid pain at the same time. You can't talk about discipline while worshiping convenience. You can't talk about greatness while living like a slave to emotion. You think your weakness deserves compassion? It doesn't. It deserves execution. You have to declare war on your own softness. You have to hunt it, starve it, destroy it. Because every day you let it live, it steals from the man you're supposed to become. Stop looking for motivation. You don't need it. You need accountability. You need to look in the mirror and say the truth out loud. I am the problem. Say it again. I am the problem. Feel the weight of it. Don't run from it, because the moment you accept that, the war changes. You stop being a victim. You become a weapon. Discipline is not built by fighting the world. It's built by conquering yourself. When you control your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, you become untouchable. Most men will never reach that level. They'll talk about discipline, post about grind, quote warriors, but they'll never face the man in the mirror, because that's the only opponent that can't be fooled. You can't lie to him. You can't hide from him. You can't fake progress with him. He knows every truth you bury. He knows every shortcut you take. That's why so few men win, because they never fight the real enemy. The real enemy is the man who says, "I'll do it later." The real enemy is the man who breaks promises when no one's watching. The real enemy is the man who wants respect without earning it. The real enemy is you. You want to be free? Then kill the part of you that keeps you chained. You want to be strong? Then destroy the part of you that seeks comfort. You want to lead? Then conquer the man who keeps making excuses. Until you do that, you'll always be divided. Half of you will want greatness. The other half will beg for comfort. And the one you feed will decide your future. You are both the soldier and the enemy. You are both the creator and the destroyer. You are both the reason you rise and the reason you fall. The world isn't stopping you. Life isn't holding you back. You are. So stop negotiating with your weakness. Stop reasoning with your fear. Stop protecting your resistance. Face it. Fight it. Kill it. Because the man you're meant to be is trapped behind the one you refuse to confront. And until you win that war, you will never be built different. Good. Now that you've faced the enemy within, it's time to rebuild. Discipline isn't born from emotion, it's born from architecture. Chaos breaks men. Structure builds them. You don't rise by feeling motivated, you rise by following a system that doesn't care how you feel. Listen closely. This is where men separate. The weak talk about motivation. The strong talk about process. The process is your salvation, because when your emotions betray you, and they will, the process will still be there. Here's the truth. You don't need more inspiration. You need a blueprint, a plan so precise it removes negotiation, a system so ruthless it makes emotion irrelevant. Every man thinks he's disciplined until he meets structure, until he's forced to obey the same order every day with no applause, no reward, no variation. That's when the truth appears. That's when weakness crawls out of the shadows and begs for mercy. But there's no mercy here. There's the plan and there's obedience. That's the law. You want freedom? Earn it through repetition. Freedom is not the absence of structure. Freedom is structure. Because only a man who controls himself can command his life. You've been told to chase balance. Forget balance. Balance is what men chase when they're scared of commitment. You need order. You need discipline that bleeds into every part of your existence. You need rules so clear that emotion dies before it can speak. When you wake up, the plan decides what you do. When you're tired, the plan decides what you do. When you doubt, the plan decides what you do. That's how you win. Because execution doesn't care how you feel, execution only cares that you showed up. You think discipline is about punishment. It's not. It's about protection. It protects you from your weaker self. It keeps you from drifting back into chaos. It builds walls around your purpose so emotion can't sneak in. Men without systems are slaves to mood. They move when it feels right, stop when it feels wrong, and call it intuition. That's not intuition, that's instability. That's why they never rise, because their emotions keep rewriting their orders. The blueprint kills that. The blueprint replaces feeling with protocol. Protocol means you wake up at the same time, you move with precision, you eat with purpose. You train without excuse, you execute without debate. The blueprint turns life into a series of non-negotiable commands. It eliminates choice, because choice is where emotion hides. The more decisions you make, the more room you give weakness to interfere. You don't decide whether you'll do the work, you've already decided. The plan is the decision, the rest is obedience. That's how you turn discipline into instinct. That's how men become machines, relentless, focused, unbreakable. Repetition is your ally. Repetition is how you build identity. The man who does something once is a beginner. The man who does it daily becomes it. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Every rep, every routine, every repetition of the plan is a reminder, I don't answer to emotion, I answer to execution. This is where men fail. They think variety means progress. It doesn't. It means distraction. You don't need new, you need consistent. You don't need excitement, you need endurance. The blueprint doesn't change when life gets hard. You do. You adapt inside it. You grow within it. You learn to suffer inside the system without breaking the system. A real man doesn't reinvent the wheel every week. He masters the rotation until it becomes a weapon. The plan is not a suggestion, it's law. You obey it because you said you would. And when your mind starts to rebel, that's the signal you're finally entering the zone where weakness dies. You see, most men worship motivation. They wait for it to strike before they act. But the men who win, they act first. And the act itself creates the motivation. Action is the cure. Action is the weapon. Action is the discipline that destroys doubt. There's a reason the military runs on orders, not feelings. Because when chaos hits, emotion fails. Protocol saves. You don't think, you execute. You don't feel, you follow. That's why soldiers survive. They trust the system more than their panic. You need that in your life. Your business, your training, your growth, it all lives or dies by the system you build. Without structure, your ambition is noise. Without discipline, your dreams are fiction. Without obedience, your potential is useless. So you want results? Build your blueprint. Wake up at war. Follow the same routine until your body moves before your mind does. Track your progress with precision. Refine your system like a weapon. Every detail matters. The time you wake up, the time you train, the time you work, the way you breathe, the way you rest. Consistency is not glamorous, it's brutal, mechanical, monotonous. But that monotony is where greatness is for.
You can't rise if you're always rewriting your rules. Stick to the script. Let your life become so predictable that success has no choice but to appear. The weak want excitement. The strong want efficiency. The strong understand that repetition is what separates the emotional from the exceptional. When you live by the plan, you're free, because nothing can control a man who already knows what comes next. That's how you kill hesitation. That's how you destroy doubt. That's how you silence emotion by giving it no space to exist. The blueprint doesn't argue. It doesn't compromise. It doesn't negotiate. It simply demands execution. So you plan,
You attack, you repeat. Every day, no breaks, no mercy. You keep executing until your system becomes your identity. You want to be unstoppable? Then stop depending on how you feel. Stop improvising your life like an amateur. Build the plan, follow it until it's your second nature. Because a man who lives by emotion will always be a slave. But a man who lives by execution will always be free. Built different. Be the man your father couldn't be. Listen carefully. Time doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't pause for your feelings. It doesn't negotiate with your fear. It moves, with or without you. Every minute you hesitate, time moves forward without mercy. Every moment you overthink, another man out there is executing. He's not smarter, he's not luckier, he's just faster, he's decisive. He's moving while you're still convincing yourself to start. You think you have time. That's your first mistake. Time is not waiting for you to get your life together. Time is your most ruthless enemy because it never stops attacking. Every second you waste is a piece of your life you will never get back. You've convinced yourself that hesitation is harmless, that waiting for the right moment is wisdom, but that's a lie you tell yourself to stay comfortable. Hesitation is not harmless, it's lethal. It kills your potential quietly, without blood, without sound. You tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. Then one day you wake up and realize that time didn't wait for your motivation to return. It moved on. It took your chances with it. Every time you negotiate with your emotions, you lose to time. Every time you delay action because you don't feel ready, time wins. Every hour you spend thinking about what to do next, another hour is gone. Unrecoverable, unrepeatable, unforgivable. Understand this. Time is not your friend. It's the executioner that stands silently beside you, counting down every breath. Every man has a clock above his head, but only the disciplined know it's ticking. The rest pretend it's not there. You don't realize how expensive your hesitation is. You don't see how every "I'll start soon" costs you months, how every "not today" costs you years. Time is the currency of life, and you've been spending it like it's infinite. You waste hours scrolling, doubting, planning, waiting, as if there will always be more. There won't. Every man dies owing time he thought he had. Procrastination is not laziness, it's arrogance. It's the belief that you can afford to waste what can never be replenished. You think there's a later. There isn't. Later is the lie that kills more dreams than failure ever will. You keep saying, "When I have more time, I'll focus." You fool. Time doesn't give, it takes. You'll never have more. You'll only have less. And when it's gone, no amount of regret can buy it back. You have one life, and it's disappearing in real time. You don't need a calendar to prove it. Just look at how many days you've already wasted convincing yourself you're preparing. Preparation becomes procrastination when you never launch. Reflection becomes regret when you never act. Waiting becomes wasting when you know what to do and still don't move. You think hesitation is caution. It's not. It's surrender in slow motion. Every day you spend negotiating with yourself, should I, shouldn't I, is now the right time? You're leaking hours. Every negotiation you have with your emotions is a trade. You trade potential for comfort, purpose for peace, greatness for safety. You say you want to change, but change requires execution, not intention. Time doesn't reward intention, time rewards movement. You're losing, not because life is unfair, but because you're still debating your own instructions. You have a plan, you know the steps, but you keep rereading the map instead of walking the road. You want to know why the disciplined win? Because they stopped asking for permission from time. They act, they move, they bleed, they execute now, not later. The disciplined man understands that time is the most unforgiving battlefield. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose strength and rebuild it. But when you lose time, it's gone forever. The clock doesn't negotiate. The clock only collects. You say you're waiting until you feel ready. Ready for what? For the fear to disappear? For the pain to stop? For the doubt to vanish? It won't. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You decide you're ready when you start moving. Every second you waste preparing for perfect conditions, another man is out there building under imperfect ones. And while you wait, he wins. Hesitation is expensive. It costs you momentum, and momentum is the oxygen of progress. Lose it, and everything suffocates. You tell yourself, I'll start when I have clarity. But clarity doesn't come before movement. It comes after. You don't find the path by standing still. You find it by walking. Every man who ever built something great did it under pressure, under confusion, under fear. They didn't wait for calm. They built discipline inside the storm. The more you wait, the weaker you become. Waiting trains your body to obey hesitation. It builds a habit of delay. Every time you postpone the mission, you teach yourself that comfort wins. You are not losing to the world. You're losing to the clock. You're losing to the seconds slipping through your hands while you stare at your phone thinking about what could be. You've built routines around avoidance. You wake up, check your distractions, chase small wins that feel productive but mean nothing. You fill your time to avoid facing the truth. You're running out of it. The man who controls time controls his life. But to control it, you must stop negotiating with it. Time doesn't listen to words. It only respects execution. You keep asking for another chance. Time gives you one. It's called now. And every time you waste now, you bury another opportunity that will never return. Look around. The men who are winning aren't smarter than you. They're not luckier. They're simply faster to move, faster to decide, faster to execute. They don't think twice about the plan. They act on it before emotion can interrupt. You think about what could go wrong. They think about what happens if they don't act. That's the difference. They fear regret more than failure. You fear failure more than regret. That's why they rise while you stay. Time is undefeated. No man has ever beaten it, but you can starve it. You can make it your weapon instead of your enemy. Every hour can either serve you or destroy you. It depends on who commands it. If you don't command your time, it will command you. Time is the one battlefield you fight alone. No one can recover your lost hours. No one can live your purpose for you. No one can rewind your days. You either execute now or you surrender slowly. The clock is not a background sound. It's the sound of your life ending 1 second at a time. Every tick is a warning. Every minute that passes is a life you'll never live again. So understand this. Every time you hesitate, a part of you dies. Not dramatically, quietly. The death of potential never makes noise. You keep chasing motivation, hoping it will give you energy. But what you need is urgency.
Urgency makes you ruthless with your minutes. Urgency makes you aware that hesitation is suicide in slow motion. You're running out of time, not metaphorically, literally. And the tragedy is that you still act like you have more of it. You say you want to change your life, then change your hour. You can't control tomorrow. You can't redo yesterday. You only own now. And now is enough if you stop wasting it. That's the real test of a man. Not how he handles success, but how he handles time. Because time will expose you. It will show you who you are when no one's watching. It will show whether you're a soldier or a spectator. You're not too late, but you are running out of later. Every moment you hesitate is another inch of your life slipping away. You can't outthink time. You can only outwork it. Stop planning the future. Start dominating the present. Stop saying someday. Someday doesn't exist on the calendar. This is war, not with emotion this time, but with time itself. And the enemy doesn't sleep. If you want to win, then act like it. Stop negotiating with the clock. Stop reasoning with hesitation. Stop pretending there's more time coming. Because every hour you negotiate, you lose. You've already lost enough time. Don't make peace with it. Make war. You think discipline is hard? Try living with the weight of wasted years. Try explaining to yourself at 40 why you never became what you knew you could be at 25. That's the cost of negotiation. Slow regret, lifelong debt. The clock doesn't take prisoners, it only keeps score. And right now, time is winning. Every day you delay, your edge dulls. Every hour you take a break, your purpose weakens. You tell yourself you're recharging, but you're rotting. Rest isn't recovery when it's undeserved. It's decay disguised as comfort. You've been given the same 24 hours as the men you admire. The difference isn't opportunity, it's obedience. They obey the clock, you ignore it. They treat time as a weapon, you treat it as a luxury. You don't need motivation, you need urgency. Motivation is a feeling, urgency is awareness. Urgency wakes you before the alarm. Urgency pulls you out of bed when your mind says no. Urgency doesn't wait for energy, it creates it. Every man has a point where he either acts or ages into regret. You're standing there now. Every delay pushes you closer to the version of yourself that still talks, still plans, still dreams, but never moves. Time punishes the talker and rewards the mover. You can speak goals all day, but time only listens to execution. You think you can cheat time by multitasking, by planning, by being productive. But time doesn't care about activity, only results. Busyness is the most beautiful form of waste. It makes you feel accomplished while stealing your future. Time is not a resource, it's a responsibility. Every second you're alive is a command to move, to build, to conquer. You're waiting for the perfect window. There isn't one. The window was open when you woke up this morning. You just didn't climb through it. You can't control how much time you have left, but you can control what you do with what's left. The disciplined man understands that. He doesn't fear time, he uses it. He doesn't complain about the hours, he commands them. He treats every minute like a weapon, sharp, deadly, directed. The weak man treats every minute like a pillow, soft, comfortable, safe.
That's the difference between builders and dreamers. One counts progress, the other counts days. You don't lose to time all at once. You lose slowly, in the spaces between decisions, in the hesitation before action, in the moment you say, 5 more minutes. Those minutes are where your life disappears. You think the war with time is external. It's not. It's internal. It's fought in your discipline, your focus, your ability to execute without emotion. The enemy isn't the ticking clock. It's your own delay. Time doesn't destroy men. Weak discipline does. And when you realize that, everything changes. You stop seeing days as something to survive and start seeing them as something to dominate. You stop counting hours and start commanding them. You start living like every tick of the clock is a dare, a challenge to move, to execute, to become. Because that's what time really is, a dare. Every second whispers, "Prove you deserve this." And the truth, most men don't. Most men negotiate with time until it stops listening. They waste their youth asking for more chances, not realizing they've already been given thousands. Every sunrise is mercy. Every hour is borrowed. You owe. The disciplined man pays his debt daily, with effort, with focus, with execution. The undisciplined man ignores the bill until time collects, and when it collects, it takes everything. Understand this. Time will never tell you when you're done. It just ends you. There's no warning, no final reminder, no notification, just silence and the echo of what you could have been. You can't be both cautious and legendary. You can't chase greatness and chase comfort at the same time. You can't fight time and waste it at the same time. Decide. You're either building your legacy or erasing it every minute. The clock doesn't stop for self-doubt. It doesn't pause for fear. It doesn't care about your excuses, your anxiety, or your exhaustion. It keeps moving. And if you don't move with it, it leaves you behind. You want to know what real discipline is? It's not waking up early. It's not grinding for hours. It's not the perfect routine. It's the refusal to waste a second. Discipline is urgency. Discipline is movement without hesitation. Discipline is war with time and war with yourself. Because in the end, there's only one truth worth remembering. You don't run out of time. You waste it. And every hour you negotiate, you lose. Listen, you can't build focus in a crowd. You can't hear truth in noise. You can't find discipline surrounded by distraction. Emotion thrives in chaos. It feeds on noise, on people, on constant movement. Every notification, every conversation, every meaningless scroll, it keeps you weak. It keeps you emotional. You say you want focus, but you live like a man allergic to silence. You run from it, because silence exposes you. It strips away your excuses. It forces you to face the truth. You've been hiding behind noise to escape yourself. Discipline doesn't grow in chaos. It grows in control. And control starts with isolation. You need to understand this. Solitude isn't loneliness. Solitude is strategy. It's where weak men break and strong men build.
When you're alone, there's no one left to blame. No one to distract you. No one to validate your excuses. It's just you, your mission, and the clock.
And that's where the war gets real. You think you need more motivation. You don't. You need fewer voices. You need fewer inputs. You need fewer opinions. The world has convinced you that connection equals strength, but constant connection is just dependency. Every time you seek validation, you lose clarity. Every time you explain your grind to people who will never understand it, you slow down. Stop explaining, stop updating, stop sharing your every move. Discipline is silent. The mission doesn't announce itself, it executes. The most dangerous men in history weren't loud. They were quiet, focused, obsessed, alone. They built in silence. They trained in silence. They planned in silence. And when they struck, the world had no choice but to listen. You can't reach that level of clarity if your mind is filled with noise. The world around you is engineered to keep you distracted. Dopamine on demand, comfort at your fingertips, escape in every direction. That's not entertainment, that's control. Every distraction is an attack on your purpose. Every moment you give to noise is a piece of your focus you'll never get back. If you want to become unbreakable, you have to disconnect. Turn off the noise, shut down the chaos, be still. Stillness is power. Silence is discipline. Focus is the weapon. When you remove the noise, your emotions lose their grip. You stop reacting to every thought, every impulse, every flicker of weakness. You start operating from command, not feeling. Emotion is loud, purpose is quiet, and the quiet man always wins. You've never met your true potential because you've never been alone long enough to hear it. You keep filling the silence with distractions because you're afraid of what you'll hear in it, the truth about who you are and who you're not. But that's the point. That's where you grow. The moment you sit in the silence and don't flinch, the moment you realize you don't need noise to feel alive, that's when you become dangerous. The world will call you distant, cold, obsessed. Good, let them. While they waste their energy reacting to everything, you'll be executing in silence. While they chase attention, you'll be building dominance. Because emotion can't survive in order. It can't thrive in discipline. It can't breathe in silence. The man who masters solitude becomes immune to chaos. He walks through noise untouched. He's centered when others are lost, focused when others panic, controlled when others crumble. That's who you need to become. You can't lead yourself until you silence everything that pulls you away from the mission. You can't control your life until you control your attention. You can't build focus until you kill the noise. So disappear, not forever, just long enough to become someone worth reappearing as. When you return, you won't need to say a word. Your results will do the talking. Silence doesn't mean absence, it means preparation. And the man who prepares in silence, he never misses when it's time to strike. Emotion thrives in noise. Discipline thrives in control. Kill the noise, master the silence, command yourself. Because the loudest man in the room is never the strongest. The silent one is. Listen carefully. Control doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop being owned by what you feel. You've been told to suppress emotion, to act like stone. That's not strength, that's denial. The goal isn't to kill emotion, the goal is to command it. Because emotion isn't the enemy, surrender is. You can't erase what you feel. You're a man, not a machine. Anger, pain, fear, they're all part of you. But when you let them steer your actions, they become poison. When you master them, they become power. Anger can destroy you, or it can drive you. Fear can paralyze you, or it can sharpen you. Pain can weaken you, or it can make you unbreakable. It's never the feeling itself that breaks men, it's the lack of control. Weak men drown in emotion, strong men channel it. You've seen it, men who explode at nothing, men who chase comfort to numb their stress, men who confuse impulse for instinct. They let their feelings dictate their reality, and then they wonder why their lives are chaos. But the disciplined man, he feels everything and moves anyway. He feels the fear, but he still steps forward. He feels the anger, but he channels it into precision. He feels the pain, but he keeps walking through it. That's control. That's power. Control isn't coldness, it's awareness. It's the ability to stand in the middle of a storm and stay unmoved. You see the emotion, you feel it, you recognize it, and then you decide what to do with it. That's the difference between a boy and a man. A boy reacts, a man decides. You're going to feel doubt. You're going to feel pain. You're going to feel rage. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you human. What makes you strong is the discipline to decide how those emotions serve you. Emotion is raw energy, and energy doesn't vanish. It transforms. When you master emotion, you turn reaction into purpose. You turn pain into drive. You turn fear into focus. You don't escape emotion, you weaponize it. When a man can take his anger and use it for discipline, that's when he becomes unstoppable. When he can take his heartbreak and build something with it, that's when he becomes dangerous. Because the man who controls his emotion controls his world. Your emotions are signals, not instructions. They tell you something is happening. They don't tell you what to do. The weak man obeys every emotional impulse like a servant. The disciplined man listens, processes, and chooses.
You will never eliminate emotion, but you can make it submit. You can make your mind the general and your emotions the soldiers. They move when you say so. They act when the mission demands it. That's what real composure is. Not suppression, but submission. Not silence, but strategy. And once you reach that point, you become dangerous in a way emotion-driven men can never understand. They're predictable. You're not. They react. You respond. They chase control. You are control. Understand this. Control isn't about feeling nothing. It's about feeling everything and still staying aligned with the mission. You can cry, but you don't stop. You can rage, but you don't break focus. You can feel loss, but you still execute. That's the highest level of strength, the ability to act independent of feeling. Because when you master emotion, you no longer need motivation. You move from principle. You move from order. You move from purpose. And no one can take that from you. The world tries to sell you balance, Comfort between chaos and peace. Forget that. Balance is fragile. Control is eternal. You don't need balance. You need command. The man who commands his emotions commands his destiny. Because while others are busy reacting to life, he's busy directing it. So don't kill what you feel, refine it. Don't bury your emotion, forge it. Don't silence your anger, discipline it. Emotion is not weakness, it's raw material. Control is the forge, discipline is the fire. And the man who walks through that fire doesn't emerge empty, he emerges unshakable. You want real strength? Don't be emotionless, be controlled. Don't be numb, be focused. Don't be calm because you feel nothing. Be calm because you control everything. Because the man who feels deeply, yet never folds, is the one every weak man fears and every great man becomes. Listen, this is where everything you've heard comes to a single order. No hesitation, no second guessing, no emotion. You've been told your whole life to listen to your feelings. That's why you've been average. That's why you've been soft. That's why you've never stayed consistent long enough to build anything that mattered. Your feelings have lied to you since the day you were born. They told you comfort was peace. They told you happiness was the goal. They told you to rest when you were supposed to rise. Every failure you've ever tasted came from obeying emotion instead of execution. It ends now. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more clarity. You need obedience to the plan. Because the plan is the truth, and the truth doesn't care how you feel. You made the plan when your mind was strong. You wrote it when your vision was clear. So when weakness comes, and it will come, the plan is the anchor. It keeps you steady when your emotions try to drag you back into mediocrity. Understand this. The plan is not optional. It's law. When the alarm rings, you move. When the schedule calls, you execute. When the pain hits, you endure. No debate, no negotiation. That's how you build a man. That's how you break your old self. Every time you follow through when you don't feel like it, you put another brick in the wall between you and weakness. Every time you finish what you start, you bury the old version of you a little deeper. That's the battle. You versus the voice that wants to quit. You think you're fighting the world? You're not. The war is internal. It's you versus the part of you that still listens to fear, still serves comfort, still believes that feeling good is the goal. It's not. The goal is to win. And winning doesn't care how you feel. It only cares that you execute. You can't afford to stop because it hurts. You can't afford to slow down because you're tired. You can't afford to lose focus because your emotions want attention. The mission doesn't wait for your feelings to recover. The world doesn't pause for your doubt to fade. Success doesn't care about your excuses. So stick to the plan. When the mind screams rest, work. When your body says stop, move. When the feeling says quit, finish. Because that's what separates men from boys. Obedience under pressure. Every great man you admire was built in moments where his feelings told him to stop, and he didn't. The plan is sacred. It's your weapon, your compass, your creed. You don't question it. You execute it. Because if you keep obeying your emotions, they'll destroy everything you could have become. But if you stay loyal to the plan, even when it hurts, even when you're bleeding, even when you're alone, you'll become untouchable. This is the moment you decide. No more emotional negotiations. No more weakness disguised as logic. No more waiting for motivation. From now on, you move with command. You act with precision. You execute without hesitation. Kill the feelings, follow the mission, stick to the plan. Because the man who sticks to the plan becomes something rare. A man of order in a world of chaos. A man of action in a world of excuses.
So the next time you feel weak, remember this moment. The next time you want to quit, remember who you said you'd become. The next time you feel your emotions rise, remind them who's in command. Your feelings are not your God. Your plan is. You either follow it or you fall. There is no middle ground. So go, stick to the plan, execute without emotion, lead yourself with discipline. And when it's over, when the dust settles and the weak are gone, you'll still be standing, unbroken, unbothered, unmoved, built different. Be the man your father couldn't be.